Today I'm going to share with you my November 2025 Book of the Month predictions. And if you're curious of who gave me the authority to talk on this subject, the answer would be nobody. But we're going to do it anyway. My first prediction is a horror thriller called Best Offer Wins by Marissa Cascino. This book is about a woman who keeps trying to buy a house, but her offers keep getting rejected. And finally, she finds a house that she really, really wants, and she begins to stalk the owners of the house and just get a little too obsessive over the people. It's such an interesting concept, and I feel like it could go so many ways. I'm really looking forward to this one. My next prediction is another thriller, but more in the dark academia category. It's called The Burning Library by Gilly Macmillan. This book is set in Scotland, and in the beginning of the book, a woman is found on the shore dead, and she has in her possession some sort of embroidery that seems like it's not important, but I guess as things unfold, it becomes more important and there becomes a larger story that's centuries old behind this piece of embroidery that's been fought over for centuries by these two secret societies of women. The next pick that I have is a literary fiction called Palaver by Brian Washington, who is also the author of the book Family Meal. This book is about a man from Texas who moves away from his family and moves to Tokyo, Japan. There he's an English tutor, and he starts frequenting gay bars and gets into an affair with a married man. His family is estranged and has a homophobic brother, but 10 years after he's lived there in Tokyo, his mom shows up on his doorstep. The next pick I have is a fiction called That's Not How It Happened by Craig Thomas. What drew me to this prediction was that it is written by the co-creator and producer of the series How I Met Your Mother. So obviously it naturally has a draw. So this is a story about a woman named Paige who was not planning on being a stay-at-home mom, but got married and had a child with Down syndrome and ended up staying home. She writes a memoir, and one day an actress turned producer shows up on her doorstep and she wants to turn her memoir into a movie. The next book I have is a fiction with a little bit of romance, and it is Next Time Will Be Our Turn by Jessie Q. Sutanto. This is the author of the book Vera Wong's Unsolicited Advice for Murders. This book is about a 16-year-old girl who talks to her grandmother, and her grandmother tells her a story from the 1960s when she was younger and was involved in a hidden romance. I picked this one because it has the queer elements and is a generational story, and I thought it would be interesting to hear about that perspective, not just in the present day, but from several years ago when it was a much more taboo subject. The next book I picked was And Then There Was You by Sophie Cousins. Sophie Cousins has previously been featured on Book of the Month, so that was what drew me to this selection. This book is about a woman who goes on a dating app, and she is seeking a boyfriend or a date, and she finds someone that is just absolutely perfect. And there is one little catch about him. And I think if you research this book, you will see the catch, but there were some descriptions about this book where this element wasn't described. So I'm not gonna say it in this video because I don't want to spoil it for anybody, but there is a catch to this man. And if you're interested, you could look it up. My next selection is a cozy fantasy that I may have just selected just based on the cover alone. It's called Violet Thistlethwaite Is Not a Villain Anymore by Emily Krempholtz. This book is about a plant witch who teams up with her neighbor, a grumpy alchemist, to save the city that they live in from a magical plague. If the cover is anything like what's inside the book, this seems like a warm and cozy, fun romance. Those are all the books I have for my November predictions. Comment down below and let me know which book you're most interested in reading in November.